Okay, everybody, this is the fourth and final part of the commentary version of the Deus Ex RSIA run. Here we've just finished up at the Pasadena Ocean Lab, and we are moving back to the ocean, or the sub base, and we're going to go meet Jock on the roof so that we can then get out of here. This section is not too tough. The toughest section of coming out here was doing the whole catwalk with the flamethrower and the sniper guy, navigating around them. But when we go back, we're able just to drop down into the water and chance it with the guys in the in the scuba diving gear that are down there. Their paths are pretty predictable and easy to navigate around, so it's overall not too big of a deal. So you'll see when I come out and I get on the catwalk here, instead of just trying to go through the whole catwalk again, I'll just hop off the edge and go through the water and come up into that building from underneath. The pathing on the scuba divers is pretty standard. They just kind of do little circles, and so it's very predictable and easy to kind of go around them. There's only 2.5 sections left. There's the remainder of this one, which won't take too long, and then the missile silo section and map that goes along with that, and then Area 51. The next two maps are incredibly difficult and took me an immense amount of time. I think just for those two maps alone, it took me about 2 days worth of work. However, I put a lot of hours into it because I was so close to the end, and there's a couple of times where I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to progress, but we managed to move through them pretty quickly. There's a couple of tricks that we'll outline, but other than that, nothing too crazy. Here we're just moving around some enemies to get through. This guy's pretty easy to kite around. He does a pretty predictable path. There's a guy upstairs that does a loop back and forth, and so whenever he gets to the end of the hallway, he will turn towards his left and take a half step backward. And so if we line ourselves up with him, directly to his right side, when he does that, he won't see us. So it allows us to easily move past him. All of the doors and grates and stuff that you need to get through to get to the roof where Jock is are thankfully unlocked. If they were locked, I frankly don't know what we would do. So I'm pretty glad that they didn't lock those, because I'm not tracking a TNT crate anywhere. Actually, there was a TNT crate, I'm sorry, all the way back inside the Pasadena Ocean Lab. The one that we threw off the edge to mildly inconvenience the spider bot. And so if the crate or door had been locked, I guess we would have had to drag that all the way back, which would have been not great, but we don't have to. So we come out, Gary Savage is up here, we talk to them, then we go to the missile silo area. I can't exactly remember what that map is called, but either way, that's where we're going. This section here at the missile silo is one of the toughest in the game. I think map for map, other than the areas where I got completely stuck on, just in terms of raw trial and error, I think this map is actually probably one of the hardest in the game. You need to get inside this compound here, and the entire compound is completely surrounded by dogs, and the only entrance into the compound is through a building that is attached to a catwalk. However, the building is filled with Majestic 12 enemies. There's a key card or a key on the table, which will let you come in this front door. However, the first times I spent probably about 20 tries trying to just get through the building and up onto the catwalks. However, there are snipers overlooking the catwalk, sentry bots on the ground, dogs everywhere. The Majestic 12 guys are chasing you. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably pretty much impossible to get through there without dying, especially on realistic difficulty. And so at a certain point, I decided to try to see if I could get the key and go through the front door, after backtracking. And that's ultimately what ended up working. So you can see that the dogs here their AI is pretty hard to judge. Sometimes they will aggro to you and snap to you, just over a quarter of a second. But you'll see here, once this dog passes me, I kind of run down the center area over here, and there's a second dog that does not aggro to me at all, even though I'm running 10 feet in front of its face, and then I crouch down in the shadows. I think it's because maybe they're more sensitive to dark than perhaps some other player or human NPCs are. You can see I just start running. You can see that kind of dog sitting right there. It does not aggro to me. I'm running right in front of it, even right now. Still not aggroed. And I'm sitting right in front of its face, and it doesn't see me at all. So in the light, they'll see you from, 500 yards away. But in the dark, they won't see you at all, even if you're sprinting right in front of their face. So this is the guard shack type thing here. There's 3 troopers playing cards at a table here and chit-chatting. The key is on the table. You can go up through a staircase to get to the catwalks up there, but you can kind of see on the left side of the screen there is a sniper on the roof. There's also a dog out here that patrols out front and never leaves. So all in all, this part's very, very hard. You can see I run straight up the stairs and then drop down past them, take a couple of hits. I try to go back down here, but there's a guy with a sniper who will, again, insta-kill me if he sees me. And so I'm trying to just lure them away from the table long enough for me to grab that key and ultimately escape. So perfect luck. They're both facing away from me and don't turn back somehow. And so I'm able to grab the key. And of course, the first thing I do is go behind the building here and take a save, because that was incredibly lucky. And, you could probably do it 20 more times and not replicate the same thing. So now I've decided that the best way to do it is to go all the way back around to the gate. There are 2 dogs kind of freaking out in front of the gate over here. They're kind of running back and forth. I'm not sure why that is. They're not aggroed to me, and they're not attacking each other. They're just kind of running around. You'll see them right here, sprinting all over the place. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't think they do that naturally at the start of the map, but they might. But either way, it makes it tough. So here you can see I draw the ire of the dogs, and as long as you're not doing something or getting shot at, these dogs are actually pretty easy to avoid. The problem is that once they get on you, they'll never leave. And so I decide to try to manipulate the gate here to where I slip through it and close it just in time to where they can't. I miss it this first time and surprisingly don't get bitten somehow. And then when I try it the second time, it actually manages to work. So that was, again, incredibly lucky. You saw it as a seamless thing, but that probably took me 20 or 25 tries. That alone was extremely difficult, but we ultimately got it done. So there's an elevator that we have to take over here. I actually end up forgetting where the keypad is, and so I get alerted by, or a bot alerts to me, and I have to hide, but after that I find the keypad and also forget what the code is, so I'm very unprepared for this section, but we ultimately get downstairs. The downstairs section is no easier. There's a button we have to press and a computer we have to log on to reroute the missile in the silo. And then after that, there is a guy that we have to kill named Howard Stern, who's sitting on a scissor lift, who is evidently disabling the missile somehow. Doing that was incredibly difficult, and I thought for a very long time that there was no way to kill him. He's sitting underneath the missile perfectly to where you can't throw an object down onto him. I spent probably about an hour trying that, and we do end up being able to kill him, and the way we do so is very amusing, but I don't want to spoil it because it's pretty funny, and you'll see when we get there. There's a bunch of doors down here, and the layout of this is a little confusing. It confused me now, and it definitely confused me as a kid. Because I didn't complete every playthrough that I did. I've only actually been through this part maybe you know, 5 or 10 times over the course of, you know, 22 years. But we figured it out. So there's a set of lasers over here that activates an alarm that we're going to use this box to block the lasers. Unfortunately, it does set the lasers off. It's not one of the ones where if you block it with an object, it doesn't set the lasers off. However, we'll have enough time to block the lasers and run away before we die. And we'll just wait out the alarm, wait out the aggro, and then come back and try to escape, or try to get up there to reroute the missile. There's going to be a man in black standing kind of inside the lasers. We try to make it past him, but when we go up the stairs to the room on the second floor, he aggroes to us, but then gets stuck on the stairs, so it's not actually too big of a problem. And then once we get up there and all the enemies are not looking at us, we can access the computer and the button and get that objective completed. That commando follows a pretty predictable path back and forth in there. Unfortunately, the sections that he walks where he won't see us are pretty small, and so he spends most of his time out in that central section where he will see us. So our opportunities for slipping by are a little limited sometimes, but we manage to make it. I accidentally get seen by him here, but slip a little further behind the wall there. So I actually get seen by the guy down there who will chase me all the way over here and try to shoot me. You actually can see he shoots the lamp, or the light fixture there, but he gets stuck on the stairs and doesn't leave. And for whatever reason, his AI is not coded to return to any particular area, and so he'll just sit the last place that he lost aggro at, which thankfully for us is sitting at the stairs facing the wall. So this guy seems to really like walls. He was downstairs staring at the wall, and now he's up here on the stairs staring at the wall. So there's the button that we have to click. You can do it from behind the chair without risking alerting that guy. But you would think, you know, you're sitting at a chair and somebody's reaching across you and pressing buttons that you might notice, but I guess not. This guy, amazingly, does not somehow see us, even though we are directly in his line of sight here. We're able to just barely scoot forward. You can see how nervous I am doing this. Just like a pixel at a time, just scooting forward to be able to nick the edge of that computer terminal there. And then we are able to reroute the missile, which will then alert us that there is somebody in place halting the missile launch, which is Howard Stern, I believe his name is. And so here I'm wanting to take a save, but I have to wait for the info link to stop talking. And so I just kind of sit here and wait for that. So you can see the man in black there kind of staring at the wall. Pretty fortunate timing on the commando too. He's just now initiated that walk away section of his route so that we don't waste any time waiting on him. So we appreciate, you know, not having wasted the time. We don't actually need this crate, so I bring this crate with me so that I can potentially throw it at Howard Stern in some way to kill him, um, and or use it as a climbable object later. However, we determine that we don't need to do that, and I don't really think I use it for much, but we'll see if I use it to climb up onto a ledge. So we're at the very bottom of the missile silo. You can actually leave the silo at this point, but Jock will not touch down outside until after you kill Howard Stern. This box physics in the water works a little oddly. Sometimes you can push them, and sometimes they'll just stay and not move at all. So I spent a little bit of time trying to get this box to push. I accidentally sink it deep down into the water, and am vaguely considering restarting the segment here, but decide to give it a shot at trying to lift it back up so I can hop up on the elevator and grab it. I do eventually get it there, but it's kind of a pain. The way objects interact with water in this game is inconsistent, to say the least. I accidentally push it lower there, which frustrates me a little bit, but it does tell me that the box will still move up and down. There, I believe it's going up, finally. What causes the box to move or not move is a little curious. You can see I finally get it to move there. It's kind of bouncing in the water. I finally get it close enough, and I can grab it, which is kind of unfortunate because, again, I don't think I use that box for anything. I take a manual save. So you can see Howard Stern on his little scissor lift looking thing. Actually, I guess you can't because I'm staring at the box, but he is underneath there, and the way that we kill him is Mario style, like a Goomba. So we hop down here, look at him, we use the weight of the box to assist our fall damage, and we jump on his head, which does fall damage to us. Another big issue with this part was that my legs had extremely low health, and so it took me like 30 tries, because in 28 of the 30 tries, I would actually break both legs, but you actually can't leave this place at all. You have to be able to hop up onto a ledge to take the ladder out of here. But there are climbable objects and things in this game, and there are non-climbable things. NPCs are not climbable things. I actually saw it in the Roomba section at the very, very beginning of the game, where I just stand on the Roomba and it continuously damages it. That was kind of foreshadowing, I guess, because we land on Howard Stern's head. I'm not actually sure that the box makes any difference. It was kind of hard to tell. However, I did it a lot of times without the box and did not manage to kill him. It did bounce me off without killing him. And so I brought the box and it continuously worked. So that maybe tells me that that does work. But I guess I don't know that for sure. But yeah, so the ultimate fix there was to hop down onto that little secondary ledge over the railing so I didn't break both legs, and hop on his head, and it bounces me up and down repeatedly because it does not want me to stand on Howard Stern, and as it does that, it continuously damages him, which allows us to kill him. Other things that the game does not want you to stand on include like pillows, trash bags, non-square stuff, but it will do it with players as well, or NPCs as well. So here I'm actually activating a lamb from inside the wall using what I believe is carrying this dead body and it increasing my hitbox radius or something of that nature. I tried that repeatedly without doing that with the body, and it did not work. And so here we are getting some more energy, and on this panel up here, you can open the front door to the bunker. However, this whole thing is a little bit moot. I had planned initially to go in to the front door of the bunker. However, that's not ultimately what I end up doing, and so I don't actually need to do all this, but I did at this point. But that's another interesting trick, is that I would go inside and see that lamb in there, and I said, I wonder if you can activate that from outside, because they have a pretty generous trigger radius. and turns out you can. So there's a building kind of in the lower right there, almost where that fire is, where Walton Simons is located. There are certain things, once you come down this ramp, it'll trigger him to run out of that building, and he'll start chasing after you. If he finds you, he will initiate dialogue with you, and will force you, he'll immediately start attacking you. So we're kind of on a timer here, where we have to run into this building so that we can avoid him. You'll kind of hear him chasing after us, and not too long. But we have to run around the bot here. Initially, I was going to try and go in the front door that we opened. However, there are 2 sentry bots in there that are pretty much unavoidable, and there's almost no way to get past them. So I spent a great amount of time, maybe about an hour, trying to get past them, and figured out I couldn't. However, in this area, there is a large fan that you're supposed to break it with a weapon, and you drop down into a water tunnel. However, we can't use weapons. And so I did a decent bit of testing with different crates, and found out that with enough determination, you can use a metal crate to break the fan blades, which you'll see here soon. So I get seen here, but not fully aggroed to. I'm grabbing the metal crate that I'm going to be using for breaking the fan blades. These metal crates are pretty helpful. They seem to be able to break just about anything in the game to a certain extent. You'll remember that we used it to break the interference generator in the mausoleum section of Paris after it had been damaged with a pillow, ironically. For whatever reason, it did not seem able to damage it before. You can see Walton Simons is there. I shake my head disapprovingly at him. He has no way of getting up here, thankfully, and so this is the last we will ever see of him during this playthrough. So we are climbing over here using our box and stuff to get over where the fan is so that we can drop down. I almost fell out of the side of the building there because I didn't know that little cutout was there. And so you can see me get a little confused. So we drop down into here, kind of land on the center point, and then if you throw it at a high enough angle, it'll continuously land on this fan blade and rotates the box amusingly. And after enough tries, it will break it. I tried 101 ways to see if there was some way I could slip through this fan blade. You know, maybe if you jump between the blades, it won't kill you. However, it's actually not fully rendered. The blades individually are not rendered. It's considered to be this massive floating object, as you can kind of see, that is completely impenetrable. So there's no way to get through here as a player. Between the fan blades, there's no timing, there's no anything like that. It just kills you. So now we broke the fan by using our handy-dandy metal crate, and we are able to drop down and into the main section of Area 51. All in all, just that top map section probably took me about maybe an hour and a half of testing to figure out. I was pretty dead set on going in that front door because I was so proud of that lamb trick where I could open that door. Normally that door to that guard tower where that computer terminal is located is locked. But if you trigger the lamb from the outside, you can unlock it, or rather, just blow the door down. And so I was so proud of that I kind of got tunnel visioned on the front door of the bunker and didn't really consider alternatives. And only after failing that, about 20 times, did I finally say, okay, this is not working. Here we're going to use our favorite friends, the metal crate, to block a spider bot, or actually a sentry bot, I'm sorry, that's going to be coming out of the wall there. There are some unavoidable lasers that we've got to break through. However, if we just block the sentry bot from coming out, he can't shoot us. I'm kind of positioning them near the edge so he can't shoot around the boxes and still kill me, because my health is pretty low. So you can see I kind of, make sure that he's actually stopped, and he is. So now we are fully inside the building. There's a pretty annoying section coming up where some guys will get off an elevator, and I actually kind of biffed it a little bit here, but I don't end up dying, but I come very close. And I thought about resetting the segment at that point, but didn't, because I didn't I didn't end up dying. And there are med bots in the next section, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, I'm sorry, the elevator section comes up later. I forgot this was first. So here we're just dodging over some laser tripwires. This whole section was a little bit hard, not because I don't know what to do. It's actually fairly straightforward in that regard. We get our good friend the turret over there, and a hallway that we can activate to kill all the enemies on the map that we want to. However, there's a sentry bot that is very rude and takes forever to kind of sweep back and forth along this hallway, and it's very easy to get caught by him, and I died several times to that. So basically, there's a key inside these barrack rooms over here that we need to get to a door at the very end of this level to go to level 2. But guarding the door is a sniper enemy on a scissor lift, kind of like Howard Stern was, and a whole bunch of other enemies that we're going to have to lure into a turret system that we can hack. I'm really glad that turret was there, because if it wasn't there, I'm not entirely sure how we would have gotten around those enemies. I'm sure we probably could have, but it would have taken 3 times the time. And I'm glad we didn't have to do that. Didn't have to do that. At a certain point, again, I don't have sound because my headset's on the table while I try to record, not so close to my face. But we're so damaged that the medbot can't even heal us for the entire amount. I'm being aggroed by something, so it's playing the combat music, and you can see I'm checking every corner, like trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. There's actually a greasel in the little pod in the corner over there that I don't see yet, and so it's constantly playing this music, and I'm getting a little nervous, just to find out that there's a greasel behind a pane of glass that's really mad at me. I'm getting some recreational reading in here while I wait for the medbot to refuel up again. I finally find the greasel that's, very angry at me and causing combat music noises. That actually, so I get caught back here a little bit later as I come back to try to heal, and it's hard for me to tell when enemies outside or the sentry bot, is not aggroed to me anymore, because the greasel plays the aggro music constantly, the combat music rather, and so I don't actually know when it's done and over with, and that makes it a little tough. But so inside this rec room here is where there is a panel to hack that to hack that turret with, and we'll lure these enemies out here and let the turret kill them. Actually, I forgot, they already chased me, and I think I walk around them to sneak inside the, for some reason she goes that way, which I'm not really sure why that is, but I sneak into the building, or into the room, and shut the door. Then, as they try to return to their rec room, they will get killed by the turret, and no longer be an issue. This is the final area of the game. I mean, not this particular map, but this whole mission. Area 51 itself is the final area. And so I was really on cloud 9 during this part, even though it was hard, and it took me a lot of time. Being so close to having finished this run after, about a year of work, felt pretty good. She's actually hiding behind a box, and so I'm trying to get her back out here where the turret is. I take a little bit of damage, and I think at some point I go back and heal. But healing is kind of a pain in the butt, because that sentry bot is out there, and it takes so long to get from one side to the other that it becomes kind of an issue. For some reason, he just decides to turn around right there. I really have no idea why that is. His normal route will take him down much further than that. I also healed a little prematurely. I wasn't actually that damaged, and we have a lot more enemies to lure out. I probably could have saved myself a little bit of time by just luring the enemies out and then healing after that was all done. But I guess I was just really playing it safe. So here's where it's really hard to tell when I'm safe to go out and when I'm not. If I walk out before I'm actually safe, that bot's going to insta-kill me. But because the Greasel is constantly playing the combat music, I can't tell when the bot is angry and when it's not anymore. And here again, you know, just you can see a little bit of my exasperation there. That the bot, for some reason, even though it was kind of turned all the way around, pretty much, saw me for no reason at all, and just kind of needlessly hovers around this room here, and then goes all the way back again, and just will not leave, and becomes, I get trapped in here for a little bit, and and then he walks all the way back down, and continues his patrol path down that way again, and you can see I get a little bit impatient, and you know, he's shooting at me. It's an ordeal. So you can probably skip through this a little bit. I'm just trying to avoid this bot. Probably could have skipped, you know, a minute ago, but I didn't realize how long this was going to take. Watching the clip back again. So finally he turns around again. It's kind of hard to tell which enemies will or won't hear you. Spider bots, big spider bots, I guess can't hear you, but sentry bots sometimes can hear you, and I haven't determined which enemies can or can't hear you. It seems almost random. So here I'm hopping to try to get the attention of all the guys so that I can drag them down here to the turret area. I have to make sure they actually follow me all the way down. Sometimes I'll just go to the last place that they saw you and stop. So I have to kind of try to make sure that they come all the way down here. So I'm luring him, and then I'm going to shut the door. He's going to try to open it, but I'm just going to continuously shut it so he can't actually shoot me. And eventually, my cue that he's dead is that the door no longer tries to open. So that's a pretty easy litmus test for his life status. So it actually takes a while to kill them. I remember there being a lot of enemies out there, and so the turrets don't do a ton of damage, but it is free damage that, you know, can kill enemies we normally wouldn't be able to kill. And so it takes a little bit to burn through those three guys, but it ultimately gets them. So the next difficult part here is there is a unavoidable sniper on top of the catwalk there, or I'm sorry, on the scissor lift type thing. And again, if he shoots us, it's a one-hit kill. If he had an assault rifle, you could just book it through here, but he doesn't. And so we have to use this really annoying wooden box to try to scoot our way across very, very slowly. He'll aggro to us, he'll snap to us, we have to wait. He snaps, we wait. He snaps, we wait. All the way down, all the way across. Eventually we get across. So, I mean, it's not particularly anything special, so if you want to skip through, you can. But, going into this final section, there's actually 3 endings to the game. You can merge with Helios, you can blow everything up per Tracer Tong and shut the whole thing down, or you can team together with Morgan Everett and do something else to that regard. I don't remember exactly what he wants you to do, but you team up with him. And going into this, I actually didn't have a plan for which of the 3 endings was either going to be the easiest or which one I wanted to do. but we end up going with Helios because it just happens to be the one that I know where the doors are, and it just happened to be the easiest for me. I think they all require you to go to level 4, which is an area a little bit deeper in, and so if you all have to go to level 4 for all of them anyway, it doesn't really matter which one you do. A lot of them are just different doors that you open, but the Helios one is easy. You just flip a couple switches and then go back and talk to him, and then game over. In the final areas of this place, there are quite a lot of the little gray alien guys, which are extremely annoying. They run pretty fast, they patrol pretty fast, and they aggro from a long ways away. Here, there's a elevator full of enemies. This is where we biff it a little bit. I'm trying to use these boxes to make them investigate, and end up getting seen. But there's one guy still in the elevator, and I don't know where the button is, and so I almost don't click it in time and die. But I just barely managed to scrape through, and they don't kill me. So that's really the most important part, but a little bit of a smoother run would have been nice. So there's a guy in the elevator, there's a guy facing the elevator. It's pretty tough trying to get all these 4 or 5 guys, put in a position to where they will not see me. So the elevator is finally clear, and I decide to make a break for it. Their pathing there was pretty lucky. However, you'll see I kind of can't find the button, and then I try to click it, and for some reason, even though my cursor is dead on it, it doesn't highlight, so I can't go down. So I take a lot of unnecessary damage there, but it ends up not being too much of a problem later. Thankfully, in this section, there's a ton of med bots, which you don't find in other sections of the game, and so it's not as much of a problem as it would normally be. This section here is not too difficult. It took me, ironically, a lot longer to figure out exactly where I was supposed to go and what doors to go in and everything like that during my initial run through to try to see, what the most optimal route would be. That took a lot longer than it did to actually run it. I spent most of my time trying to figure out exactly where the game wanted me to go. This Area 51 section is really not my favorite. It's pretty confusing, and I don't like it very much. But as far as final chapters go, it could be worse, but it also could be a lot better. The endings themselves are pretty good, as far as like morally ambiguous endings go. They're all 3 kind of appealing. You could see the benefits of all of them. Merge with an AI that is capable of doing anything, or bringing the Illuminati back to power, and co-ruling with them. That would be fun. Or just blowing it all up and sending everybody back to the Dark Age. You could see the benefits of all of them. I choose to become a hybrid machine god, which I think is one of the cooler endings. This medbot here is we're getting our money's worth out of him. This section is kind of the central hub for this area and Sector 4, and so we're gonna heal with that pretty often. This is the section I alluded to earlier where I want to save before I go on, but I've got like 2 or 3 info link messages waiting, and so I just kind of have to read a book and look out the window while I wait for them to get done so I can save. can see me kind of shake my head in exasperation there again. Underneath here, there are a lot of, there's a couple of gray alien guys, and there's some commandos that are down the hall a little bit. It's really tough to get past those little gray alien guys. Thankfully, however, they actually don't do too much damage. And so if it's just them by themselves, usually you can run by or try to lose them somehow. They hit you with like these little radioactive attacks, but I don't know if maybe the realistic difficulty doesn't scale their damage at all, because it was really pitiful. And as long as you're at full health, you can pretty much just run past them. So Helios is down this hallway here, which we have to slip past this commando guy to go talk to him. He will tell us where to go to get the... I can't remember exactly what we have to do. You click two buttons. It's uploading or downloading something, or one of the standard Deus Ex mission objectives, establishing a link or something like that. And then once you do that, you come back through this hallway and go talk to him again, and then the game ends. The hitboxes for elevator buttons leave a lot to be desired. I don't know why they're so tiny and inconsistent. Sometimes your cursor will be right on it, and you'll be close enough, but for some reason, it won't activate. Alright, now we're off to the level 4 labs. I take the elevator down a floor too far. There's actually a ground floor here that doesn't have anything that we need in it. And so you can see I'm a little confused as I pass my floor by, but kind of shake my head and then go back up one. Here in this next room, Helios, as a sign of good faith, is going to give us a couple of sentry bots to, quote, protect us on our way. But the bots are not that strong and the AI isn't great. And so two commandos are going to run down the stairs, and the bots are going to kill one of them, but not the other one. So I'm going to have to try to lead this other commando out back towards the elevator and try to slip past him. I don't actually end up slipping past him, but it doesn't become a problem. I continuously forget where the elevator is for some reason. I always think it's on this right side when it's in the center, and I always do that. I do that a couple more times, I think. So here I try to slip past the commando. He kind of turns around right at the last second and sees us and chases us in that hallway upstairs. But he never even gets a shot off, so it doesn't really matter. I was kind of hoping he would stay turned around here, but he doesn't. This commando hears us, but doesn't see us because of how dark the hallway is. So he just kind of runs right past. So here I'm scoping out, kind of seeing where enemy placement is. I'm going to try and slip past the little gray aliens that are downstairs and make my way down to the big double doors that lead to the level 4 labs. We don't actually spend that much time in the level 4 labs. There's just one door we have to go in. It's got a keypad on it that we get into, press a couple buttons, and then come right back out. Bob Page will be sitting in the middle when we go by him, but ultimately he'll activate some turrets, but we don't have to interact with him other than a small dialogue section as we walk by. So here I'm just jumping over a bunch of enemies and hoping I can stay out of line of sight long enough that they'll de-aggro, and ultimately they do. There's a Greasel down at the bottom of the stairs here that makes things really tough. He kind of just waddles back and forth, and it's really hard to slip by him. So in this room up here, there are a couple explosive crates. I think 3 of them, actually. And so I'll use one of them to get rid of this trooper, which we don't really have to do, but he's just sort of in our way, and we don't end up needing it for anything else. And then I'll use a second one to kill the Greasel at the bottom of the stairs, which is actually a lot more helpful. And then the third one we're going to take with us so that we can kill some aliens with it and the Sector 4 section. We might not absolutely need it for the Sector 4 section, but the aliens run very fast and chase you forever. Don't deal a ton of damage, but it's very annoying, so it makes it a lot easier for us to just do that. One explosive crate is not enough to kill the spider bot, and so it's not worth trying to use them all on him when he's pretty easy to avoid. Even if you aggro him, he doesn't do too much damage, which is a little odd because they're, massive bot creatures that are actually not too threatening. So here we can just slip by the pipes over here, and Helios will open the door for us. We spend very little time in this next Sector 4 area. We just literally have to open a door and press a couple buttons and come back. So we're pretty much in the home stretch here now. So you'll see me throw the TNT crate down preemptively. Like I said earlier, whenever you talk to anybody, including holograms, when you have something in your hands, your character throws it on the floor, which in the case of a TNT crate will blow it up. So I killed myself a couple times doing that. When I first came in here during my test run, that door actually just straight up killed me, which I thought was thoroughly amusing. It's one of the only scripted sections in the game that are like that. The other one that I can think of is the little in the LaGuardia Airport tunnel section. Some of the catwalks break off and fall apart. So here we're going to try and aggro these 2 little gray alien guys and lure them out so that we can kill them with the crate. You have to punch in an extra long key code. It's like 5 or 6 numbers. And so trying to do that while you're taking radiation damage and being attacked by aliens, it's a bit tough, and I died a couple times trying to do it. So I just decided to bring the crate with me so I didn't have to worry about it. I was kind of having flashbacks in that little radiation section to the Catacombs radiation section in Paris, but it was nowhere near as lethal, and there's a med bot right outside, so I didn't need to be worried. So here, Bob Page will activate some turrets and stuff that are surrounding him. We're just going to run straight for the router back here, punch in the code, which I think I might forget the code or mistype it a couple times. Spider bots are attacking us, but there's a med bot in here. This last section, you would think, being the final section of the game, would be incredibly difficult. But in amping up the amount of enemies, they also amp up the amount of supplies and bots and stuff they give you. And so it's very easy to heal every, 30 or 40 seconds. So now we're logging in to do the final thing, engaging the router that we need to do. Now we're just running back to the Helios, where he is, in level 3, or Sector 3, and then that's it. That's the whole game. I was really worried about Area 51. I thought maybe, being the ultimate section, I didn't remember it that well. The layout's really confusing. I was worried that it was going to be a massive, massive pain, but it ended up not being too bad. Ironically, the VersaLife section from earlier in the game was almost a little tougher than this was. It definitely took me longer, that's for sure. Maybe it was because of inexperience at this type of run at that point or something. I got pretty refined here at the end. Just waiting for the spider bot to turn around. I probably could just book it past him. Again, we don't really need health for anything. The game's about to end here in about, a few minutes anyway, 2-3 minutes. So, amusingly, also, before I go up to talk to Helios and end the game, I refill my bioelectric energy, which I guess maybe probably just out of habit, but you certainly don't need it because you're, beating the game. But I do, so better be prepared, I guess. So here, I take one final moment to heal, I believe. And then I just book it past the commandos and the aliens or whoever else is down there. I think I was initially going to be using that chair to try and distract them so I could run past them. But after a bit of testing, I decided that I didn't need it. You can just run past them. Especially since we don't care about our health at all, since we won't be going too much further. The alien placement here is a little unfortunate, though. I think ultimately, after trying to wait it out for a while, I just decided to run past them. Because, again, it doesn't really matter. So once we go up this elevator, that's it. That's the run. We beat the whole game without using a single item, augment, weapon, skill point, anything. So, big shout out to my buddy Mike, who I've been kind of sharing this run with over the past couple, 10, 12 months, and has been pretty hyped for it every step of the way, and that's it. That's the game. So we successfully did it. So from here, I think at some point in the next maybe year or two, I might consider doing a more polished run to see if I can tidy up some sections a little bit. Especially earlier in the game, there was a lot of fluff and a lot of stuff that could have been cut out, or at least refined down a little bit. I'd also be interested at some point in looking to see if we can complete all the secondary objectives in the game, but I don't think that you can. But I also didn't think you could do it this way either, so I'll be investigating that. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy playing the game like normal. This made it look very easy because you see it all in one seamless run, but it was actually incredibly difficult, and I got very frustrated. Even making minor progress in every section of the game was just so tough. And so, while I'm glad it's over, I did get a little burned out, but I might revisit it here later, and we'll see. So for now, this is it. That's been the run. It was interesting and fun. I'm glad I did it, and if anybody else tries something like this, I'd be interested to see if there's other strategies or anything, but other than that, that's pretty much it. Alright, thanks guys.